fell in August. It took some time for them to tell us exactly what was going on and to basically tell us that she had 5 months to live. And I must say that during that time, I was in denial. Like, I didn't realize I was in denial until after the funeral. I was in denial.
When did she die?
She died New Year's Eve. And I always struggle with the year. I always struggle with the year that she died. Only because I was in denial. And so it felt like there were so many things happening in my life at that time that I really have to sit and think about what year she died. So this is 2013. I think she died New Year's Eve 2009 going into the 2010 year. And for some reason, I always have to sit and think about that because I feel like my life was just in a daze at that point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's crazy because I was going through a lot with my marriage as well as my sister passing away. And so the way that it happened was, I just remember back where she was in hospice and I still believed that my sister was going to pull through. If that ain't denial, then I don't know what is.
Yeah.
I mean, she's in hospice. You know, and those of you who know what hospice is, you know, I was crazy. All right, I'll see y'all tomorrow. I'm about to get ready to go to work. My mom, everybody's like, Summer, it's happening tonight. All right, I got to go to work. I don't have time for this. I'm going to go home. I'm going to drive home.
So how do you feel like you were dealing with that? How would you describe how you were dealing with that?
Honestly, I feel like I was numb. Like when I think back,
yeah,
I was going to work. But the thing about it, so much was happening in my life that I was dealing with. And that was just another added portion to it. That was the worst part of what was happening in my life.
Yeah.
You know, but I had just entered into a master's program. I was going through, you know, the adultery situation with my husband. I was raising a son, you know what I mean? And now my best friend, who I talk about all these things through, too, I couldn't pick up the phone and talk to her because she's dying. That didn't make sense to me. That didn't hit me. I remember I was out one day and my cousin called me and said, hey, you know, maybe you want to come to the house and start spending more time with Maya. And it was like, my sister will be fine. She'll be fine. You know, this is going to be a test. I believed in my heart that God was using her for a testimony. That I was going to be standing in church next to her in a couple of months and she was going to be telling everyone what God did for her. No one could change that. I believed that in my heart. So I didn't think about death. I didn't believe that she was dying. I couldn't sleep at night. I didn't sleep for months due to all of those things that were happening and going on. But one thing I do remember when I went to go see her in hospice, I still was like, you know, okay, I'm going to see y'all tomorrow. Everybody's telling me she's about to pass away tonight. I'm like, y'all can't tell me when my sister's passing away. Who are you? You know what I mean? Like, I'm out of here. I got to go to work tomorrow. I'm going to work. That night, I got home. I kept my phone right by me when I laid my head down. That was the best sleep I had in months. I slept so well. Didn't hear the 17 missed calls and the 20-something text messages I had when I woke up. I think I woke up about 7 o'clock. I slept from 9, 10 o'clock that night to 7 o'clock in the morning straight.
Why do you think you slept so deeply?
Because God was preparing me. I've always been the emotional one. I've always been the compassionate one, the one who worries, the one who cries. They called me a crybaby when I was little. I was a crybaby. I was the youngest and I was a crybaby and I was a spoiled one. And so whatever transition God was taking me through, I definitely believe that deep sleep has something to do with it. Because when I woke up, all I remember is getting up, looking at my phone, and seeing 17 text messages and 17 missed calls and 22 text messages. I looked at the phone and I put the phone down. I got out of the bed, put my clothes on, I put my shoes on, I grabbed my keys, and I drove to hospice. And all I remember is walking in and them telling me that she's gone. I didn't cry. I didn't feel anything.
How did that affect you in school?
There was many times where I wanted to give up and not continue. But all I kept hearing is my sister's voice. My sister was very incoherent. Like, during that 5-month period, I think about maybe 3 months, 3 or 4 months maybe, she was transitioned to her home. And so she was to live out the rest of her life there, being taken care of. My mother stayed, and my mother was pretty much the only one who took care of her, with everyone else's help. But she was very incoherent. She couldn't understand because this is neurocancer. Basically, it was on her operating system. And so the way that they described it was that them removing it was not compatible with life. And so it was just running it out like a computer that was getting a virus. So when a computer messes up and crashes and stuff, she would have those times where she would be up, hey, Summer, calling me different names, or sometimes, things going in and out. There was one conversation that me and my sister had when I told her that I was starting my master's program. There was nothing different about any other conversation that we've had in life. My sister was very coherent, and I know exactly what I was saying to her, and she knew exactly what she was saying to me. I said to her, I was so excited about my master's program, and I told her I was going to orientation, I'm going to do my master's program. Because, see, I would never talk to my sister any differently. People come in there and baby talk with my sister. Oh, hi, baby. Oh, no, she's a grown woman. Don't talk to her like that. Me and my other sisters were very strong about that. Don't come in here talking to her like she's a child. She's a grown woman. Talk to her normally. And so we stuck to that. And so I went and I was like, oh my God, Maya, I just got out of my orientation for my master's program. She looked at me and started dying. I mean, she was laughing because she could read my face. And I was like, I don't know what I'm getting myself into. I don't know what I'm thinking. She was laughing. She's like, I was like, you don't understand. I don't think I'm not cut out for this. And she looked at me and she said to me, if anybody can do it, you can do it. And I looked at her, and then she looked at me and said, Summer, look at me. And I knew right then and there I wasn't talking to anyone but Maya Jones, my best friend, my confidant, my counselor, my sister. And she said, no matter what happens, you finish school. It's a wrap. From then on, that's what carried me through school. When I wanted to quit, when I wanted to throw in the towel, when I said this is it, I had shared this story with one of my closest friends. So when I see it's my sister, Angela, and I shared it with her, and so she would remind me throughout our program as we were going through our masters together, what did your sister say? What did your sister say? Every time I felt like quitting, every time I felt like giving up, every time, I felt like it wasn't worth it, she would say, what did your sister say? And so, if anything, I give the fact that I finished my master's program without skipping a beat, without dropping a class, never gave up on a class, never dropped, never failed a class. I give that to Maya because I can always hear her voice.
What were the things that were making you want to drop the classes or making you think it wasn't worth it? Gotta be,
the things that are happening in my marriage at the time. You know, we fell off. We weren't, you know, getting along. At this point, we had checked out. You know, he checked out and pretty much developed another life with someone else, and so I just felt like it was so much happening at one time, I guess. I mean, dealing with a marriage of someone you had been with for so long that was coming to an end, and then the fact that your best friend, your sister, your confidant was on her deathbed, you know. There's many times where I didn't want to continue on, but in the back of my head, I knew I needed to. I knew this was the only way that was going to change my life and the life for my son and the life for those around me, along with Maya's voice. But, I mean, I'm that person that should have been that statistic. If anything, I should probably be in some crack house right now. Or I should be stripping somewhere. Or drop out. You know what I mean? And the respect and love that I have for my mother is one thing that carried me. And then my sister's voice took me through, if that makes sense. I never wanted anyone to judge my mother, because no matter what she was going through as a woman, she was still my mom. And so I ensured that I was well behaved. I never got in trouble at school. Never got kicked out, never got detentions, things like that.